Hi, I am really excited to talk to you today about becoming an empowered dater. That's really what mindful dating is all about. Another way you're going to hear me describe this is becoming a self-led dater. And that terminology, self-led, is related to IFS informed coaching, which I'm going to talk about in a later video. So in a little while, when we go over the IFS content, you're going to understand the connection between self-leadership and empowerment. But for today, what we're going to talk about is becoming an empowered dater. And it's really important. This video is a little bit tricky, and it's something that a lot of women have some resistance to, but I'm really hoping to convince you that although this is difficult and super countercultural, that it's going to get you the results you want. So without much further ado, let's hop into the slide set so we can take a look at this together. There are two parts to becoming an empowered dater, and the first part is to kind of give up blind dating. And blind dating for me in this program is dating without really knowing what you're doing. So what you have to do is decide that you're going to only date from a place of clarity and confidence. So what we're going to do in the first part of this talk is we're going to define blind dating, we're going to describe empowered dating, and we're going to identify the benefits of waiting to date until you're in a place where you can be more self-led or more empowered on your dates. So blind dating is dating with blinders on. And if you look at a lot of these descriptions here, you'll kind of notice that this is almost how you're encouraged to date in popular culture. Lacking clarity on the values, visions, and goals that are most important to you for a long-term happiness. I mean, where does that doesn't really figure in a lot of dating advice. A lot of dating advice is really filled with scarcity mindset, how to catch the one that you want, what the rules of the game are. It's really not about finding out who you are, being your most authentic self, and drawing in a partner who's going to be great for supporting you and on your mission to be the best possible you can be. A lot of dating advice will focus on having fun in the first dates, how to really charm somebody, make sure you get a second date. Going out on a lot of dates with somebody that you're not sure about just to see where things go, not being sort of like reluctant to let go of somebody that you're not sure about because you're not sure. And you want to just make sure you don't drop the right person, which is also fear-based. And a lot of people do this thing where they get physically intimate pretty early on in a relationship. So they make sure that the chemistry works. So we have this belief in our culture right now that the third date is the sex date, and that's when physical intimacy is expected to happen. And that might actually just be too soon, especially if you have been dating in this way that mostly what you want to do is get another date. If you're not assessing values, visions, and goals, but instead you're just trying to get asked out again, having sex on the third date is way too soon. You really need to make sure that you're well aligned, and you have to trust that the chemistry can be assessed later. Now, this next one is super, super common, looking for red flags and deal breakers. Nobody over the age of 30 has not had their heart broken, probably nobody over the age of 20. So we've all had heartbreak. We all think, oh, I'm going to learn from that experience. I'm never going to do that again. I'm going to look for this and this, or if I had really paid attention to this sign or that sign. And on the one hand, of course, you want to be open to red flags, but really what you look for is what you find. And so if you're looking for red flags and deal breakers, you're going to find a lot of people with red flags and deal breakers. What you won't find are the things that will make you happy, that will help promote intimacy and healthy love and a lasting relationship. So looking for all those red flags and deal breakers is also dating with blinders on. And this last one really kind of speaks to the heart of what gets at the problem with a lot of women with empowered dating. Hiding what you're looking for so that you don't scare people. And this is really related. I have a lot of clients who say, well, I don't want to seem desperate. Have you shopped for a car or a home or a dishwasher, any other valuable item? And do you just sort of show up at the nearest car dealership, whether it's a used car salesman or a dealership, and just hope for the best? Or do you sort of get an idea of what it is you're looking for and go find a car that meets those requirements? I mean, we put so much thought into those things. We do this with a home. Anything else with meaning, we give some thought into what we're looking for, and we're super above board. We walk in and we say, this is what I want in a car. We go to our realtor and we tell them, this is what I want in a house. But when it comes to dating, we don't really, we're sort of cagey. Well, I don't know if I want to rent or buy. I'm not sure. I'm just looking. I'm just going to open houses. That's not dating from an empowered place. That's dating from a fear-based place. So you have to be willing to give that up. And this is difficult because it really kind of forces you to claim that you want a lasting partnership. And despite what you hear out in the media about how people might be scared away if you're upfront about what you want, or the joke about lesbians in the U-Haul, you don't care, you're not going to fall into that. You're going to be really upfront and above board with what you're looking for. That's empowerment. So these are the hallmarks of empowered dating. Take a little bit of time in these first few weeks of mindful dating to get clarity on your values, visions, and goals. Figure out what's important to you for this next chapter of your life and how exactly you live your values. What's important for your long-term happiness? How do you find a partner that's going to kind of mesh with that? Then, when you start going on dates, focus on meaningful conversations that are going to assess alignment. Are you both aligned in terms of values, visions, and goals? Do you want those same things? Is their personality likely to meet your core emotional needs? Pay attention to whether or not you feel even a smidge of your needs getting met right there in those first couple of dates. Now, don't move forward to be physically active with people until after you assess that values and visions and goals are aligned. Those are the things that are going to get you through the rough patches, and every relationship has them. Don't move forward until you're pretty sure this person has the capacity to meet your emotional needs and that they want to, that they desire to. And the third thing is the attraction. Those are the three things that have to be present for a lasting love relationship. But attraction in an empowered dating stance is the lowest on that priority list. The first thing is honoring your vision of your life and finding someone who fits it, rather than just sort of bumbling around and hoping to run into somebody who fits it. Clarify right up front that you're looking for a commitment, or that you're looking for an open relationship, or that you're polyamorous. Own it right up front. The other person has a right to know what you're looking for, and you have a right to move on really quickly if you're not on the same page. Let me say that again. You have a right to move on really quickly if the two of you are looking for different things out of a relationship right now. You will find someone who's looking for what you're looking for. Trust in that process. And so that's kind of the long and the short of the hallmarks of empowered dating. Just sort of being really clear with yourself about what it is you're looking for, owning it, not apologizing, not to the person across the table from you, not to your friends, not to society at large. If you're looking to create healthy intimacy and lasting love because you believe that your life is really awesome and it'll be a little more awesome if you have a partner, then own that. It doesn't mean you're desperate any more than wanting to buy an awesome luxury car means you're desperate. It just means you want to celebrate life with an awesome luxury car. We would never apologize for such a thing, and we shouldn't apologize for wanting to have healthy, loving relationships. So I want to just address this last bit a little bit about why wait to date. A lot of people that come into mindful dating want to start dating right away. They think, oh, this is dating coaching. I should be dating right now. I really want to encourage you to wait until module 7 or 8, or until you're feeling like you're there. Like, it doesn't have to be week 7 or 8, but you should really be through that content and feel pretty solid where you are in 7 or 8. The first few weeks of this program are going to give you amazing clarity about what's important to you in this chapter of your life, what your values, visions, and goals are for yourself, so that you can talk about that with someone you're dating and really consciously and intentionally assess whether they kind of have what it takes to be a partner during that chapter. You'll also get a lot of clarity and so you get closure on past relationships that will come about in module 5. So you'll get a lot of closure there. You'll kind of work through past hurts, past losses and griefs, and you'll get clarity on what your emotional needs are. And beyond getting clarity about what your emotional needs are, you'll get a lot of clarity about what other people do, how they behave, what they say that meets your needs. What do they do that meets your needs? And as you start dating, we'll start to work together on how you can ask a few questions or develop some sensitivities around noticing when somebody is just naturally the sort of person who is emotionally available to you. Your fear, if you have it, like a lot of times people want to start dating right away because they're just really afraid that they're going to miss out on the one. And if I don't get out there right now, I'm going to miss them. That's fear-based thinking. And you can't meet the one when you're in that fear-based scarcity mentality anyway. So it's totally okay to wait until you've processed some of those fears and gotten to the bottom of it. Another reason to wait, and it's in the upper right-hand corner here, is you're just going to avoid blind dating. You're going to avoid the pain and the pitfalls that come with sort of bumbling around and knocking into things with blindfolds on. And the reality is, if you're in the middle of already dating, you're talking to somebody, you really can't say a relationship ending thing to the right person. So if you have somebody sort of on the line or on the hook, and you say, hey, you know what, I'm realizing I need to get some clarity on some things. And this is like really serious. I just need to do some inner work. Can I get back with you? They will allow you to step aside for just a little while, do this work, and then come back with a more open heart and greater clarity, self-compassion, and a sense of calm. So those are all the reasons why I'm hoping you'll kind of wait to get in the dating mindset. And if you have any questions about any of this so far, please jot them down, bring them into our coaching sessions. We can totally talk back about this. This is these are the most common things, but you may have other thoughts going on in your mind. So I really want to hear what you're having to say about all this. So part 2 of becoming an empowered dater is developing a growth mindset. What this amounts to is using cognitive science to your own advantage in the dating arena. The first thing I want to do is talk about manifestation and mantras and all of these sort of things that can sort of sound woo-woo and, I don't know, loosey-goosey out there in the world. So when we go through this, we're going to distinguish between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. We're going to talk about how a growth mindset helps you achieve your goals, and we're going to identify which of your thoughts support a growth orientation. By the way, this is a little bit interactive. So if you don't have a piece of paper handy, please hit pause, go grab some paper and a pen, or open up a Word doc, because you will have an opportunity to sort of interact here. Because you're going to create a couple of growth-oriented statements or self-liberating beliefs that you can then begin to recite to yourself on a daily basis. So let's go ahead and get started. Different thoughts, such as the thoughts that go with a fixed mindset or the thoughts that go with a growth mindset, these are very different thoughts. So a fixed mindset would say, if I fail at something, it's not meant to be. I can change my behavior, but I can't change who I am. I'm just bad at relationships. And a growth mindset is very different. It says, I'm a work in progress and I'm capable of growing and changing. No matter what your innate talent, skills can be developed. And if I fail, I can troubleshoot and try again. And that leads to different outcomes. And that has been sort of scientifically proven. Carol Dweck, Dr. Carol Dweck, is the psychologist who has demonstrated these distinctions. And she wrote a great book called Mindset, in fact, by Carol Dweck. I highly recommend it. So she compares the outcome of people with a fixed mindset versus growth mindset. And really what we're working on in mindful dating is, to be honest, just even using dating as an opportunity for growth experiences. So the fixed mindset says, oh, I have to succeed right now. If it doesn't work out, why bother? But the problems with a fixed mindset are that when people do succeed, they just get arrogant about it. They think they're better than other people. They tend to deny deficiencies and shift blame. And we've probably all worked with somebody like this in the workplace. People with growth mindset, on the other hand, are patient with the challenges. They know that they're not going to get it right the first time, and it may take them several first or several second dates to get it right. They're willing to learn from their failures. They're willing to troubleshoot, look back, self-reflect. And when they get it right, they're proud of their accomplishments, but they still remain respectful of others. They understand that everybody's a work in progress and everybody has to do this work. They take responsibility when they make a mistake, and they're willing to change course. They don't shift blame to other people, but they own their own issues and problems. They own their contribution to a bad outcome. And here's the really awesome thing, and it's in huge letters because I think this is the great news. A growth mindset can be learned. So even if you're sitting here thinking, oh, look at all that, I have a fixed mindset. The really cool thing is you can develop a growth mindset. And I know it sounds really tricky, but it's the truth. I used to have a fixed mindset and I've practiced a growth mindset. And I've noticed that it gets easier with practice, like everything else. And part of how you practice that growth mindset is really by doing that hard work of looking at your own thoughts and revising them, and then reciting them and over again. So it's about this piece is about reminders and manifestation. So I don't know if you've heard, The Secret is a movie that was out like a couple decades ago, where the thought is that you create your own reality. And to some degree, there's a lot of truth in that. And people will talk about being great manifestors. Really, the deal with manifestation is that visualizing your goals and generating positive growth-oriented thoughts about your likelihood of success makes it more likely that you're going to persist because you can imagine succeeding. And they've even demonstrated this with athletes. For example, athletes who rehearse their athletic event or their sports event prior to that event are more likely to be successful than people who don't rehearse. The other thing, and this is especially important in dating, is that 90% of our communication is nonverbal. So if you're out on a date and all of your soft talk is this is never going to work for me, that gets communicated in your posture, your facial expression, your tone of voice, and 1,000 other things that we really can't quite identify just yet. But you're communicating that out into the world. And that manifests different realities. So if what you're rehearsing is failure and what you're communicating is hopelessness, you're going to have a different experience than if what you're rehearsing is success and what you're communicating is possibility. And the thing that's super important is your beliefs can change, which changes everything. So let's look at some breadcrumbs. Here are some fixed mindset thoughts about relationships that you may have had. And on the right, you can see the growth mindset thoughts that hopefully you will develop and practice. Do any of these fixed mindset thoughts sound familiar? How about growth mindset? If you can start to see these differences, and by the way, these page numbers are references to Carol Dweck's book. So she has a whole chapter on mindset in relationships. And if you don't have the book or you've never read it, I totally recommend at least checking out at the library if you don't feel like investing in it. It's a great book. But what she really shows is that in a lasting relationship, you're going to have to work through some differences. And if it doesn't work out, you just kind of forgive and move on. If you don't feel like you have the social emotional skills you need to have healthy, lasting relationships, you can learn them. And that's what I'm here to do as a coach, is to help you learn them. All couples need to work to understand each other. Every last one of them. The fact that it's a little bit of work doesn't mean you're not right for each other. It means you're two different people in different brains, and words are inadequate sometimes. So it's going to be a little bit of work. So now let's sort of test. Which of the following statements are growth oriented? Can you recognize them when you see them? Hit pause, and when you're ready, you can hit play and start over. No, not start over, but start right here. So at the bottom, you can see the responses to the previous slide. If you thought 2, 3, and 6 are growth oriented, you and I are on the same page. Now, let's get to some growth oriented statements of your own. Grab a sheet of paper and draw a line right down the center. At the top of the left column, write fixed mindset. At the top of the right column, write growth mindset. Write your own thoughts about dating in the right column. So if it's not in a correct column, not the right column, the correct column. And if you're noticing that you have some fixed mindset thoughts, see if you can transform them into something more growth oriented. If you're struggling with that, no worries. Let me know that on your coaching prep form and we'll do some coaching around it. Or if you forget to let me know on your coaching prep form, just bring those statements to coaching session and we'll go ahead and do some work on those thoughts. These thoughts are going to be your reminders or your self-liberating beliefs. You're going to start transforming your fixed mindset thoughts into growth mindset thoughts so that you open a pathway to acquiring the skills, acquiring the mindset, and developing the sort of persistence that you need to find, create, and nurture a genuinely intimate relationship. Once you develop all of these growth mindset thoughts, you're going to want to fill your head with them many, many times a day. There's a really great book, Altered Traits. Altered Traits, that's the name of the book. I finally remembered it. Altered Traits is a great book about meditation. And in this book, they cite a study that demonstrates that the human mind, unattended, is sort of veers off to some pretty negative thinking. So you're going to need to rehearse your new growth mindset thoughts, your self-liberating beliefs many times a day. Write them on Post-its all around your house. Make them your screensavers. Write them daily in your journal. Recite them in your journal. Create reminders in your phone or your calendar. You can even read them to yourself and make eye contact with yourself in the bathroom mirror on a daily basis. You can put a list of them on your fridge if you want. I'm not sure what other things you can do, but see how creative you can be with it. Put thought bubbles around your house. Have fun. But just make sure you rehearse those quite a bit on purpose, because you're going to really want to stop yourself from going down that negative train of thought and come back to the positive train of thought. Avoid the fixed mindset patterns and move intentionally to the growth mindset patterns so that you can learn. And if you mess up and you get stuck in fixed mindset, no problem. It's a work in progress. Just redirect and head down that growth mindset avenue. And that's all I have today on becoming an empowered dater. if there's any questions that you have, please bring them up into coaching session. The point of these videos is really to introduce you to concepts that are kind of cumbersome to read. So there isn't really written material on this. And I also want you to know that I'm here for you. I love mindful dating. I love helping my clients connect with their person. I love helping clients connect with what's best in themselves. So if you're watching this and you have questions, you have some pushback, you aren't really sure how to make this real in your life, bring that into coaching session. Let's talk about it. Let's mix it up. I want to hear from you. This isn't just me cramming it down your throat. It's just me sort of trying to make the best use of both of our time together. So that's it for me for now. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.